Tonight on NAIT NewsWatch.
How will Alberta's minimum wage increase affect businesses?
I'm going to have to probably cut a few hours here and there.
Wait is finally over as the Royal Alberta Museum opens its doors.
I just really wanted to be a part of the first day here.
NAIT is working on a set of policies for when cannabis is legal.
So when you come back to NAIT and go into the classroom and be in your labs or in the workplace, you are expected to be not impaired.
NewsWatch starts now.
Good evening. Tens of thousands of Albertans are making a little more money thanks to a pay hike this week. Minimum wage jumped to $15 an hour on Monday.
Over the past few years, Alberta's government has been raising the minimum wage annually to try and improve quality of life for minimum wage earners. Our Jasmine King joins us live from the South Lobby with more on that story.
Thanks, ladies. This rise is huge for minimum wage earners, but small business owners are on the opposite side of the story as they are struggling to adjust to the change.
Barbecue restaurant owner Bruce St. John has already been making changes to his business. And in order to compensate for the rise in minimum wage, he must trim where he can.
I'm going to have to probably cut a few hours here and there. I don't like to do it. I've already had to do it with the earlier increases. So that's over $12,000 a year. So for me, I'm a small business guy. That's huge for me.
For business instructor Mark Slanina, minimum wage has always been a complex issue with a variety of layers. But over the years, its purpose has changed.
But the issue is that minimum wage realistically has never really been designed to be a living wage. It's more been designed to get, work experience for high school students, school students, and things like that.
The increase could be helpful to NAIT students, many who have minimum wage jobs and who are looking to pay off their student debt. But not every student is convinced it was the right choice.
I earn minimum wage. Bills are probably going to go up as well. My financial status will not exactly change.
I'll be making more at work, but with the way the union works at where I am, it means that I'm reduced back to minimum wage. We see somebody bagging groceries, you think that they should have $15 an hour compared to somebody who does a little bit more harder work.
As for this small business owner, he doesn't want to increase prices, but his customers may need to eat some of the costs.
It's all my suppliers. They're charging more. They have to pay more in fuel. They have to pay, more in everything.
The rise will affect small business owners more than big chain stores, as they might need to change their operations in order to adjust to the minimum wage.
Jasmine, how does Alberta's minimum wage stack up to the rest of the country?
Alberta's minimum wage is currently the highest in the country at $15 an hour. Ontario's is second at $14. The territories average around $12.65 and BC is at $12.60. Quebec is at $12 an hour and the Prairies and Maritimes both average around $11 an hour.
So Jasmine, can we expect to see any more changes in the wage?
The current plan is to keep the minimum wage the same. The wage is rising in other provinces around the country, but Alberta's will stay the same for at least a few more years.
Thanks, Jasmine. That's our Jasmine King reporting live from the South Lobby. With marijuana becoming legal October 17th, NAIT is putting the final touches on its cannabis policy for staff and students. The new policy will deal with consumption and impairment on campus. While the final details are still being worked out, NAIT says smoking on campus, being impaired in class, and possession of cannabis will all be prohibited. The school is planning on taking a firm approach to impairment.
So, while technically you can go off campus and consume recreational cannabis, when you come back to NAIT and go into the classroom and be in your labs or in the workplace, you are expected to be not impaired.
The consequences for breaking NAIT policy are still being worked on. All the details should be known October 17th when NAIT releases the full policy.
You're watching NAIT NewsWatch, the next generation of news.
If you're planning on checking out the new Royal Alberta Museum, tickets are going fast.
It has been a long-awaited reveal that has many families excited for the museum's new beginning. Our Tyler DeSwinko has more on the story.
Thanks, ladies. I'm standing in front of the Royal Alberta Museum as it is now open. And after quite the tedious 2.5-year renovation and relocation process, families are in there right now enjoying all the exhibits and the interactive activities it has to bring. Created for their youngest visitors, the Children's Gallery focuses on the importance of play and bringing learning to life. Many of the parents were excited to share this experience with their kids.
I thought it was important just to be part of the history that's going to start here. I know we really loved the old location when my oldest was a little bit younger. It was perfect for her to get out of the house in the winter and have an activity to do. And I just really wanted to be a part of the first day here. So.
This is our makerspace. It's an absolutely amazing space for children and families to come together to discover, explore, and to check out how materials work.
Over 100,000 hours of work were put in to make opening day a success, and curators such as Chris Jazz are very excited to open the museum up to the public.
Our research focus here at the museum is really on Ice Age paleontology as opposed to some of the older dino paleontology that everybody's familiar with here in Alberta. And so this is our chance to show off one of the strengths of our collections.
There are 6 days of free admission during its grand opening weekend. However, all the advance tickets have been claimed. If guests did not get tickets in advance, they can hope to get one of the 10,000 tickets being handed out at the museum during the first 6 days. Or they can wait until Tuesday, when regular admission and schedules will resume. The overall impression has been quite exciting as families continue to file in daily to take in the sights of this state-of-the-art museum. You can plan your trip today at royalalbertamuseum.ca. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Tyler.
That's our Tyler Dzwinko reporting from the Royal Alberta Museum.
The Anderson Hall at the Royal Alexandra Hospital will soon be home to a 24/7 mental health clinic. Access 24/7 Clinic will be a place for anyone who suffers from mental illness to receive the help they need and deserve. The clinic will be open 7 days a week. Access 24/7 will be staffed with over 100 mental health specialists to care for anyone that walks in for help.
By consolidating the current access points into one front door, where patients and families will have streamlined access to multiple services, making it easier to navigate the system.
One door is all it will take to receive the help that is needed when Access 24/7 Clinic is open. The clinic is expected to open this winter.
With the start of fall comes the start of flu season, and that means the province is ready to open flu shot clinics later this month. The influenza vaccine will be provided free of charge to Albertans 6 months of age and older. This year, anyone 5 years old and up can get their shots from pharmacists. That's a change from the past when the cutoff was 9. The province has ordered 1.6 million doses of vaccine, enough to immunize 35% of the population. Last year's immunization rate was 29%.
But the flu is absolutely deadly, and if you're not sure if the immunization is going to be 100% effective, I'll tell you it's more effective than not getting immunized, no matter what.
Clinics will open October 15th. To find out more information on this year's vaccine and clinic schedules, visit albertahealthservices.ca/influenza.
Changes are coming to the way Albertans obtain their driver license this new year. Starting March 1st, all driver's exams will be conducted by Government of Alberta employees. Currently, Alberta is the only province in Canada that has a road test framework that is private. Officials say this new system will make things fair and consistent. The province will start recruiting and training driver examiners immediately.
An Edmonton councillor wants the city to look into possibly making public transit free. Councillor Aaron Paquette tabled a motion Monday, which he posted on social media. He wants administration to look at the pros and cons of making transit free to ride. The news brought mixed reactions from transit riders.
Public transit does cost money somewhere, so it's going to have to get paid for somehow.
With more people, there's more room for danger and people that maybe shouldn't be let on.
Council will vote on whether to study the issue on Tuesday.
Edmonton now has a new way of looking back through its history.
Archives are foundational to our history and to our identity.
The City of Edmonton held a news conference in the City Hall earlier this week to speak about a few new websites which will allow citizens to easily access the sites and histories, photographs as a part of its open city policy.
And as a practicing artist, And then once you've found something that you're interested in seeing in the archives, you go into the city archives, which anyone can do, talk to the reference archivist there, and they will bring out the original records.
The archive's new website can be found on the City of Edmonton's website under the City of Government tab.
NAIT culinary students are using their talents in the kitchen to help make sure everyone has a holiday meal this Thanksgiving. Many people in Alberta go hungry every day. A holiday is no exception. Every year, NAIT's culinary program feeds about 1,600 people.
Hours of work with all the students from the programs, culinary and meat cutting. We've got 100 liters of gravy, 400 pounds of potatoes, 200 pounds, over 200 pounds of vegetables, and 100 pounds of stuffing. So, you know, it's just volume.
So many Albertans rely on food banks for every meal every day. The culinary students have been working hard to ensure everyone has a great Thanksgiving dinner. The students are gaining excellent experience while giving back to their community. Coming up after the break, a NAIT grad undertakes a historic project.
After graduating from the RTA program, he's showing the totem pole some TLC.
If I could renovate his totem pole, restore it to his exact specification.
Well, the weather outside is very cold right now, but not quite as cold as the Edmonton Eskimos, with them only winning 1 out of their last 5 games. How do quarterbacks Mike Riley and Kevin Glenn think they can regain their composure and win this week against the Riders? We'll talk about that right after the break.
With all that snow in September, at least we'll have something to be thankful for. I'll have your weather forecast after this.
So, the UK has just instituted the toughest ban on ivory trade Europe has ever seen. For this exciting button push.
It's 1:59. My ears are bleeding. Underwear required over 40 stitches to her face. Good afternoon, it's 2 o'clock. I'm Jenna Winterburn with your NR92 News Update. You're listening to NR92.
Even though the snow is gone, this week was pretty cold, so I'm hoping this Thanksgiving weekend is a lot warmer.
I'm right there with you, Abby. Hopefully warmer days are ahead. What you have for us, Peter?
What is up? I have a Thanksgiving forecast that Calgary is going to be thankful for because they've been getting hit with a lot of snow, but this weekend they're going to have a high of +8, a low of -1, which is not bad for them. They'll take that. But if we go all the way west in Jasper, they'll have a high of 9 and a low of -6. Let me step back here because I feel like I'm a little bit too close to the weather right now, as it's going to rain and freeze snow in Fort McMurray. They'll have a high of +3 as I step back and a low of -9. But if we come all the way to where we are in YEG, that's Edmonton, we'll have a fantastic evening for our turkey dinner. High of +10, a low of -2, which is fantastic. Let's check out what the records are and the averages. The averages for Edmonton was 14. That's our high. The low has been 2, which is, you know, still not bad. It's not cold, but it's great. You know, it's great. The record high we have for Edmonton, boom, 28. Low -9. Now that's cold in October. It's not that cold yet. It's on the way because I feel Sunday coming around. It might get a little flurry. That's just my own knowledge for you guys. Back to you, ladies.
NewsWatch Weather is brought to you by NR92, the station for the students.
Over 2 decades ago, a totem pole was installed in front of CTV Edmonton.
After years spending battered by the weather, the totem pole is getting a makeover. Ryan Cavani has more.
The new Royal Alberta Museum features a wide variety of items for attendees to marvel at, but in the human history section, there is something that might stand out for some people, a totem pole that was formerly located in front of CTV Edmonton, but this totem pole isn't alone. There is another totem pole in the city of Edmonton, and both of them do happen to share a colorful past. Underneath this white covering is the sun-wapted totem pole, which was carved in North Saanich, British Columbia. After years of being battered by the elements, it is due for a refurbishing.
I got in touch with Doug LaFortune to ask his permission to do this. If I could renovate his totem pole, restore it to his exact specification.
John Hansen is a former NAIT grad who has undertaken the extraordinary task of refurbishing the totem. The totem stands at 23 feet tall and has a wingspan of 16 feet. After consulting with the original carver, John will repair the totem using specialty products.
It's a commercial product, a wood epoxy that's commercially available. It comes in a liquid form, and pardon me, it can be injected into some of the knots and some of the open spots like you see here. And it can also be thickened with sawdust mixture.
The epoxy will only stay liquid for about an hour, and John has to fill every crack individually. He hopes the finished totem will be as impressive as the one in the museum. For NAIT NewsWatch, I'm Ryan Cavani.
With hockey just starting up and football in the home stretch, lots is happening throughout the city in the sports world.
Our Conner Toffan has more.
Thanks, guys. We're just hours away from the Ooks season opener, and after last year's second straight finals loss to the McEwen Griffins, the Ooks are lacing up with championship goals in mind.
We've been denied the last 2 years, so we do want to do whatever it takes to get the job done to win a championship.
While the last 2 years have ended in crushing defeat, Tanner Dunkel, who's in his final year with the Ooks, looks to use it as motivation to be better this year.
I'm still mad about losing, so I think that's my big motivation this year, is not to feel like that again.
Dunkel will be joined by some familiar faces like last year's all-conference first-team forward Jake McKittiuk, along with returning goalie and 2016-17 MVP Brendan Jensen. The Ooks open the season tonight in Red Deer to play the Red Deer College Kings. After the Edmonton Oil Kings finished dead last in the WHL just months ago, they have opened up the new season with 5 straight wins. Last Wednesday, the Oil Kings put their undefeated record on the line against the Saskatoon Blades. Now, early on in this game, the puck never seemed to leave the Oil Kings' sticks, but they couldn't capitalize on chances just like this one from David Cope. And it was actually the Saskatoon Blades who scored first with this wraparound goal from forward Brandon Machado. Picking things up early in the second, look at this sweet blocker save from Dylan Miskew. But not to be outmatched, Blades goalie Nolan Meyer makes 2 huge sprawling saves straight to keep it a 1-goal game. Now with the Oil Kings on the power play, a costly face-off loss allows Blades forward Eric Florchuk to score a shorthanded goal. But it wouldn't be long before the Oil Kings would find their way back to the power play after a bad hit in the corner, and this time they'd capitalize off the goal from captain Trey Fix-Wolanski. But early in the third period, Dawson Davidson and again, the same guy, Eric Florchuk, would combine 2 quick goals to take a commanding 4-1 lead. This wouldn't be it for the Oil Kings, though. They mounted a comeback, starting with this silky smooth goal from Fix-Wolanski, his second of the night, followed by Wyatt McLeod's goal off a good feed from Jared Lipen to bring the Oil Kings within 1. However, with 2 minutes left in the net empty, highly touted prospect Kirby Dack would ice the game for the Blades, with Myers stopping 32 of 35 shots and Eric Florchuk scoring 2 of the Blades' 5 goals. The Oil Kings will look to regain their winning ways tonight in Kootenay against the Ice. The Edmonton Huskies clinched a playoff spot 2 weeks ago, but with home field advantage still up for grabs, there's a lot of work left. All that work started last Tuesday as the Huskies practice went deep into the night. But the Huskies middle linebacker Jason Brown, the late work could pay off if the team clinches a playoff game at their home field of Clark Park.
Being at home, you don't have to travel, you don't have to sit on the long bus, you know, you got to sleep in your own home, in your own bed, in a familiar environment.
Brown and the Huskies will look to inch closer to that home field advantage Saturday at Clark Stadium against the 0-6 Calgary Colts. After losing 4 of their last 5 games, the Edmonton Eskimos took the field to prepare for a crucial matchup next Monday against the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
We look at ourselves in the mirror and say, hey, what can I do better? You try to pick apart every little detail of what you do throughout the day.
It didn't take long after the Eskimos' 30-3 loss against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for the team to fire special teams coordinator Corey McDermott. But 18-year CFL veteran Kevin Glenn believes that the mistakes of last game will be left in the past.
We got to have a short memory. You know, in this profession, you need to forget about last week and move on to next week. So that's the one thing that we want to do. We learned from our mistakes of last week. We watched the film, we corrected it, and now we need to move on. What happened to us last week against the Bombers is a non-factor in this week versus the Riders.
If the Eskimos can pull out a win on Monday, they'll inch towards a home playoff game. However, a loss may put the playoffs as a whole completely in doubt. And with that, it's time to give you your sports roundup in 45 seconds.
Time for your sports in 45.
Starting in the MLB National League Division Series, last night the Milwaukee Brewers scraped past the Colorado Rockies, winning 3-2 with a dramatic 10th-inning walk-off single from Mike Moustakas in the Brewers' first playoff game since 2011. In the other ball game, Atlanta pitcher Mike Foltynewicz intentionally stepped on the foul line after leaving the mound. The man just does not care for superstitions, but the baseball gods, well, they do when Dodgers star Max Muncy nearly immediately hit a 3-run shot for the Dodgers, took game one, 6-0. Now to football, as Tom Brady and the Patriots took down the Colts 38-24 in a game that saw Brady throw his 500th touchdown pass to none other than Josh Gordon. There's a lot of big games this weekend, including my game of the week, where the Falcons take on the Steelers. Two teams with Super Bowl goals struggling mightily. This week, expect the Steelers to capitalize on a beat-up Falcons defense.
That's been your sports in 45.
There seemed to be a lot of energy in that Ooks practice. What was the locker room like?
Well, it's pretty intense in there, but overall, they're a very tight-knit group. But a lot of them this year are actually carrying a championship or bust mentality. So they're very zoned in right now.
So Connor, what do you think? Are they going to do it this year?
Well, after talking to a few players and coaches, the consensus on the team seems to be that they actually have the roster to get it done this year. So the focus for them is just going to be putting all the pieces together and peaking at the right time.
Coming up after the break, Sarah and I see how dogs get their wings.
We take a look at what it takes for a dog to become a highly trained service dog.
We do what we call a behavioral checklist, which is part of our testing process to help determine what is the best suitable program from there.
And this week in entertainment, we have movies, haunted houses, and getting lost in cornfields. All that and much more after the break.
What the? Don't miss out on Ooks hockey. Catch Ooks play-by-play for home games Friday and Saturday nights.
Light the lamp with NR92.com, the station for the students.
NewsWatch jackets provided by Elite Promotional Marketing and Timberland Supply.
For people with a physical disability, it can be difficult to move on their own.
Dogs with Wings Society gives those people the help they need by giving them a furry friend.
Dogs with Wings Society trains dogs to become service animals for people with a physical disability like blindness, inability to maintain balance, and kids with autism. The dogs begin their basic training at 3 days old. Then at 5 weeks old, they start their commands training. Once the dog is 24 months old, they will be placed in their specific service.
My youngest daughter has a disability. She has cerebral palsy, so we live in the disability community. We're aware of it, and I've seen the amazing work that these dogs have done and the difference they make.
Servicing since 1996 and continue to receive support through the community. To find out more on how to volunteer or donate, visit dogswithwings.ca.
I'm very grateful that we have this long weekend for Thanksgiving. How about you?
I'm the same way, Abby. Hopefully I'll be able to check out some new fun things happening in Edmonton. Logan, what's in entertainment?
Thanks, ladies. October is here, and that means that the Halloween festivities have kicked off. And if you're eager to dip your toes in early, the Edmonton Haunted House has you covered. These brave souls managed to make it out mostly unscathed. The creators of the house wanted to keep the surprises and scares top secret, which meant that we could not film inside, but if these reactions are anything to go by, I'd say it's best kept that way. The heightened fear factor for this year's house is partly in thanks to its new location, moving from the Paramount Theatre located on Jasper Ave to a new building located near Old Strathcona for more space to fulfill the team's lofty ambitions.
Well, basically the new theme, quarantine. Besides the new theme, this year we've been building all year. We've put in a lot of work this year, so the details and the sets are a lot better than they were in years previous.
Edmonton is open Fridays till Sundays throughout October. For more info on Edmonton, you can check out their website at www.edmontonhouse.com. It's Thanksgiving long weekend, and if your family is looking out to get out and enjoy the fall weather, the Edmonton Corn Maze has a special weekend planned.
3, 2, okay, walk.
The corn leaves have turned golden, a sign that the Edmonton Corn Maze is in its last month of operation. However, this Thanksgiving is bound to be their busiest yet. Along with the 15-acre corn maze, they will also host a pumpkin carving contest with over 150 pumpkins, as well as adding 2 horses and 2 llamas to their petting zoo for the kids to enjoy.
So the whole maze is very age-friendly. There's a kids area where kids can play, or just the maze in general. It's really fun for ages as young as a baby up to an adult.
If you want to try out the corn maze by yourself, with friends, or with family, head on over to www.edmontoncornmaze.ca for more info. The Edmonton International Film Festival will wrap up tomorrow. It's been 10 days filled with feature films, including the premiere last night of 10 animated short films. The Shorts for Shorts collection has captured the attention of joyous kids and even some adults looking to embrace their inner child. Curated from this year's film submissions and representing 12 countries such as the USA, Argentina, and South Korea, all films in the program are in competition for the Grand Jury Prize, which qualifies for an Academy Award consideration.
So we are one of about 100 film festivals worldwide that is Academy qualifying. So that means that any short film that wins our Grand Jury Prize is submitted into the Oscars for considerations.
The jury prize is yet to be decided, but will be announced tonight on www.edmontonfilmfest.com. If you still aim to take part in the festival tomorrow, you can visit the same website for time and locations. It was reading week for Edmonton elementary schools, and the students at St. Matthew got 2 very special guests to read to them.
Hey, can you guys read you another story? Is that okay?
Students from St. Matthew Elementary got the morning off to hear from Arlissa MacArthur and Michael Sulma, the 2 main dancers of Shumka's latest show, Mosquito's Wedding. They were invited to read several children's books about spreading positivity, celebrating diversity, overcoming stereotypes, acceptance, and above all, love, which are all themes of the Mosquito's Wedding dance performance.
It was a wonderful opportunity. St. Matthew's invited us over here, and we just wanted to share a good story about our wedding and another story with the kids at St. Matthew's and share in the reading.
Mosquito's Wedding is on stage at the Northern Alberta Jubilee tonight and tomorrow with their full dance performance. You can visit www.shumka.com to purchase tickets, as there are still available. That's been This Week in Entertainment. Back to you, ladies.
Thanks, Logan.
This has been your look at NAIT NewsWatch. Have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next week.